For now, masasabi ko na mas malakas yung synergy na with our bagong top na si Icaros and yung ADC ko na si Demon. Willing to learn sila parehas and willing din sila magbigay ng ideas. Kaya mas lalo naming napapalawak yung mga possibility na magagawa namin sa laro. So with this roster, lahat kami iisa lang ang goal. Goal namin is GPL. So ngayon nagsisikap kami na matuto, walang lumalaki yung ulo. Willing to learn lang yung motto namin. And sa tingin ko talaga makakapag-GPL kami dahil yung roster namin lumalaban.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, welcome back to the Garena Pro Gaming Series promotions and relegations for the 2018 series. And of course, we'll be your shoutcasters for the second match. That's TNC Esports versus SNZ. I am Atlas. With me is, of course, Rockhart, and we'll be getting into that match very, very soon. And of course, this is going to be quite exciting. That previous match went 2-0, and the ending was quite explosive, and we'll be seeing if that's going to be the same thing for this one.
And that has been the term of the day, explosive with that last game. Amazing play there by TPP. You would never expect the Fiora to go all in like that, and I want to see more games like that in the coming game. This is TNC versus SNZ Win, and what do we know so far about these teams that are for promotion on the PGS? What do we know about TNC, for example?
The thing with TNC is that they have quite a good roster for this one, and what we also know about SNZ Yin is that they have a rich infrastructure in terms of the coaching. Both of these teams have very rich infrastructure, and that should result in very good play. Their players should have a lot of synergy, and that really is one of the foundations that these two teams have, is that they have good infrastructure, especially SNZ. So I'm really expecting good play from their players in terms of the macro. But of course, this is the promos and relegations. So I'm really expecting that both of these teams to really step up.
That's right, and you have to also mention that a lot of these players are actually very much veterans in the pro scene.
Of course.
Definitely, we have like more than 80% of these players are players who have already played in the PGS from previous seasons, and that should also contribute to having more synergy. And of course, since they have played before as well with each other, that will result into great team fights as well, and that's what I expect at least.
Yeah, it really is with a combination of a set infrastructure, the experience of the players, the fact that they have played in the Pro Gaming Series before. If there are players that haven't played, then there should be players, the veterans, who will teach them, show them the ropes, and then that will actually elevate the way that they play. So that's all I'm really expecting from this one, is to give us a really good show, to be able to show us that one of these teams will be worthy of getting into the most prestigious league in the Philippines, the PGS.
That's right. Of course, this is just day one, and we have seen that BRE, Barclay Rage Esports, have been the first one to qualify, and what a great start for this promotion relegations. You can see a lot of action coming into the spring season, and that just makes me so excited.
Yeah, with all the new runes, with all the new stuff that's coming in. By the way, Zoe is still not enabled for this one, sadly.
That's right.
But there is still, it would have been fun, but there's still a lot of room for our players with the new runes, with the changes that has come to the items and to the champions, to be able to bring out new stuff into the fray. And I'm really expecting them to give us a good show here.
Here we go. We are gonna start loading up very soon. But again, we have another day tomorrow, and that's gonna be a whole different ball game. We have a total of around 4 teams.
4 teams that will be entering the PGS. The lower 4 teams out of 8 from the PGS are fighting it out to keep their spots. So this is really a difficult place to be in. It's like you have to defend your honor, your place in the league against these challengers that are trying to rise up. And of course, going to be TNC Pro Team defending against SNZ.
Yes, SNZ, definitely, it's one of the teams that I have been looking forward to, especially with since we are quite familiar with their coaching staff as well. They're one of the teams that are composed of a lot of veteran members. That of course includes Nermo, someone for AX, who we have been seeing very actively in the Pro Gaming Series and has seen a lot of success in previous seasons.
Oh, there are also a few other familiar faces on TNC Pro Team. We see Briss, we see Hayes, there's also Orthros. So there's a lot of these expectations with these players that have stayed a lot in the pro scene, and here they have to like materialize those expectations to live up to them. And really here they are defending their spot. So let's look at the bans for this one. Malzahar, Lulu, and Seraph banned out against Santelmo, so he won't have access to that long-range artillery mage that Seraph brings to the table. As for Sanzuian, they won't be having access, TNC won't be having access to the Zed and the Rise, so that's a lot of respect for Hayes.
A lot of mid-lane centric bans here. You have to wonder which one of these mid laners will have a deeper champion pool that will not be affected by these bans.
We'll be seeing that.
It's going to be a lot of action that's going to be stymied in the middle of the game, and you have to wonder what kind of pick both teams are planning right now.
And right now we'll be seeing that their priorities here, TNC really going for some of that tanky business here with the Jarvan for a lot of engage. Add on to that the power of the Ornn in the preseason, and that's just completely explosive. The Vayne, it makes a little bit of sense. Demon Fanboy.
Would you say optimal though?
I don't think it's quite optimal, but if Demon Fanboy is comfortable with this, if he's confident in himself and in his team, he already has a very solid front line here, then that Vayne could completely pop off and take away the game. As for Sanzuian, they're going for a little bit safer, prioritizing this one. The same kind of more defensive tankiness here. They have the Braum. They also have the engage potential and the peel potential of the Sejuani, as well as the very safe hyper carry that is Tristana. So very similar paths that both of these teams are going for.
That's right, and what these teams are going for is the trend that we have been seeing the past few games, where the team that has most tanks are usually the ones that come out on top. They're still having a hard time adjusting to how to get past that front line, and that's going to be, again, that's also why the Vayne pick, I think, is coming in for TNC. Is with that Vayne pick, it gives you access to true damage that is also going to burn through the front line a lot easier. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have Tristana, which of course it's going to be a more easier pick to defend compared to the Vayne, which is of course he does have mobility, but not by that much. Although Tristana's mobility has been nerfed,
especially with the resets,
as recently.
However.
Exactly. Although there is like a small slow effect that happens for Tristana whenever he does a rocket jump.
Yeah,
that's
it's a little bit of a burnout effect, but it's still quite potent.
Still quite potent because of the distance. Just because of that, the distance that you can create and the amount of survivability that your front line has, especially with that Sejuani, of course.
And I do think these hyper carry picks, especially a Vayne, will paint how the second rotation of bans. We have 4 remaining bans, 2 in each team.
That's
and
right.
I do think that the options that they will take away will depend on those. So here,
Speaking of bans.
okay, look at this. In Zuian, they see the Vayne, they stop a lot of utility. From Hayes, you won't have access to 3 champions, one of which is heavy utility that Vayne would really like, as well as Karma. So that's a lot of safety.
Sanzu Win also locking in another tank for their own.
So that's really just banking on the solid front line. Just keep that Tristana alive and shooting. As for TNC Pro Team, they'll be banning out the Shen, and that
is it a bit
that is
curious?
Shen,
Yasuo.
It's a Singe ban. Actually.
Oh, it's a Singe ban.
It's a Singe ban. A little bit of.
But
don't mind that. It is a Singe ban, and one of these weaknesses that Vayne potentially could have, because even if Demon can actually condemn that Singe and keep trying to burst him away, that Singe is really, really fast. And
there's not much that TNC can do to counter that with this composition.
Or Defender could potentially have that one with his pocket pick, so they are taking away 2 top laners away from Sansui Yin, and one is the defensive option, and one is the option that can potentially just destroy the Vayne here. But that's actually very solid for Sansui Yin. Corki.
Wow.
280 carries, very good sieging potential, powerful team fighting if they get the positioning right. As for TNC, they're also bringing out something like an 80 carry in nature. Let's say she's technically a mage, but Cassiopeia has so much
He's a
potential.
machine gun
She's just a
mage.
machine gun.
Yeah.
So,
So
this is
he
just,
goes in
yeah.
range and shoots people.
So the thing with TNC is they have a little bit less frontline. They have two because their support is that Nami, but that Nami brings a lot of healing and mobility, that speed boost as well into the table. So that could be what they're banking on, because that is really where the priorities of these two teams become a disjoint.
Surprisingly, with Senzu Win as well, there's their comp that values mobility as well. We have Corky that does like to kite a lot. He's not really burst, he likes to kite. And the Tristana, which of course they will do. So they will have to value mobility. And to counter that, TNC will have to go all in on one of these tanks at least. That's what I can see in the coming fights. And we will now be loading onto the Rift. This is again TNC Esports versus Senzu Win. This is game one, boys.
This is definitely going to be an exciting one. This is TNC Pro Team defending their spot. So definitely we'll be seeing a lot of action for this one, especially if their backs get on the wall, or will Senzu just fall. We'll be seeing how it all plays out.
As for what I'm seeing here, I feel that TNC is the team that wants to start early, because I think Senzu Win, they do have a great scale comp, but it will take a lot of time. I expect mid-game for them to pop off, unlike TNC, where Cassiopeia can like really burst people easily if they get caught out of position. So as long as Senzu Win gets in the right positions to do their thing, they should be fine. However, TNC, they do have a lot in their bags. They have that Ornn, which is highly contested for a lot of teams, and of course, Jarvan, you cannot count out the gank potential of the Jarvan as well, especially if he comes out on top. Yeah,
and TNC will want to get on top of the game here in the early phases of the game, because looking at the Jarvan for this one, running the electrocute says a lot about how he wants to play this. He wants to gank for his team. He wants to put them ahead so that they can overpower and delay Senzuian's power spikes as much as possible. Look at that. Very quick leash here. As for the bot, both junglers are starting at the bot side, so they know where their priorities lie.
That's right.
They want to start around this bottom side of the map. We'll be seeing how they transition that with Quinto to really stop this stalemate, possible stalemate. But Jarvan,
wow, he is not
burst.
seen right there, and he goes in for it.
That is going to be Mirmo having to rocket jump away. That was really, really quick. The flag and drag did not connect onto Mirmo, but it would have been really scary. Would have burned the flash.
Yeah, that was super close, because you won't expect that Mirmo has rocket jump right away. If he was just a few ticks of the spears back, right now Burst is not going to stop. He wants to get more summoner spells for his time, and that electrocute will actually have a lot of kill potential in the middle of the game.
That does put the mana for Santelmo a little bit behind there. Also, sadly for Burst is that they took their escapes very early as well. Here comes Kessera, so they're trying to go for something against Demon Fanboy. He gets stunned out by the concussive strikes, but has to flash away before he is permafrosted. That is just Mirmo. Dangerous dancing right there. Very, very low. I think that gank, it did only burn the flash coming from Demon Fanboy, but that's a lot of health off the Mirmo right there.
Senzu has to be careful here. Haze is just owning the middle map, and that's where you see the power of the Cassiopeia, of course. Meanwhile, we will have to wait for level 6 at least for the power spike of that Corky to come in, and that's something that Senzu definitely needs.
And here's the oppressive presence of the Ornn, just being able to constantly, safely push in Montiferum here, especially with a corrupting potion. Defending his territory right there. I think he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He does not have his
just in time.
Oh, just in time before he gets even more damage on him.
That flag and drag just saved him. He was CC'd for the rest of that jump. Meanwhile, Burst. Sorry. Icarus. He just burned that out of nowhere. Morty just got out of position real easily.
Has to burn that flash. It might come into play once Burst comes from another gank onto top lane.
Right.
Now,
small positional mistake. Very small mistake, but has a 5-minute implication. That lane is not going to be safe.
Burst is not giving Kessera a break.
Wow.
Just trying to steal the potato. Of course, here doesn't really catch a good one.
Burst just being really pesky to Kessera. Wants a little revenge for those ganks that he did stop earlier. And right now, it looks like smooth sailing so far for TNC. They're the ones giving up the pressure, rightfully so, by the way. And let's see how far they can keep that up. Because again, we are waiting for power spikes here. Force and Zuyu win. They did opt for this composition that has that scaling power spike. So wait for the Triforce on that Corki and watch the HP bars fall.
Yeah, it's going to be really scary. And here, Burst gets a taste of his own medicine here.
So
Kesarasara takes away his Raptor cap. Burst is angry. He wants to go for it. Santelmo goes for the firing support against Hayes as well as Burst. And here comes
Hayes.
corner Hayes. There's a concussive strike. Concussive blows on him.
Oh.
He has. Look at the perfect timing
Cleanse
on that
one.
cleanse.
That was a great burn. That expended time of 4 members, forcing Zuyu win. And you could say it was worth it just to give the other members of TNC more leeway to farm. And they're going to have to walk back to their lanes because of that smart play there from TNC.
However, Sanzuyan is feeling the pressure right now with Hayes low. Man, that cleanse timing was just perfect. If it was a second or millisecond later, that could have been more dangerous for him right there. But as soon as the concussive blow is procced, he just cleansed out of there.
That was amazing cleanse play, but of course we can't be stuck there too far because right now you can expect TNC to just start ramping up on this Vayne. He has not left his lane at all for the duration of these fights, and having that much into a Vayne at this early point, I don't know. I kind of want to give it to the Vayne because he can get more kills in a mid game if he keeps this up.
Right now, all he's doing is just keeping the game flowing without too much pressure in the bot lane. Demon Fanboy is just racking up that minion score right there.
Yeah,
He's not doing a lot of aggressive moves. Most of it is just to keep Nirmo out of his territory so he can see us more safe.
Yeah, Demon Fanboy opting for a second item, CS item, right?
Yeah, that is going to be the call right there.
Yeah.
It will help both Mirmo as well as Demon Fanboy in terms of their gold. It will.
Isn't it a bit greedy though?
Yeah,
to
both of
pick
them.
that after Dorans.
Yeah, both of them are really banking that this laning phase will last a little bit longer because they have very safe supports to help them out.
That's right.
First, trying to look for something down here, but as I said, it's very hard to gank Mirmo and Beast because of their composition on this bot lane. So for now, he just has to look for other opportunities for mid lane or against Kesarasara.
Yeah, I like that Burst is really non-stop with trying to look for that. But however, you have to ask, how far below is he getting in regards to the Sejuani? Because right now, quite a stark difference in CS, and there's not even much kill pressure at this point. So 43 to 31, Sejuani is ramping up into becoming a really good tank. So we will have to see what Burst does in order to balance that out.
Yeah, not having these high kill games is more friendly to the Sejuani than it is for the Jarvan.
That's right.
Especially if the Jarvan's running Electrocute. Of course, that just missed by a few inches there. Santelmo not able to get the finishing blow against Hayes with Kesarasara attempting to help him out.
Yeah, Hayes is getting a lot of pressure. He's getting so much attention that you have to wonder how far ahead will this Orange be? And he's already 35 CS ahead. Way so far ahead. There's so much differences in the leads of these lanes that you have to wonder how far can this balance stay. Wherein no kills happened so far, and now they really want to go for it.
Has to flash away preemptively. Kesarasara finds that they have finished their job, but Mirmo is
falling
very, very low. Even Fanboy might get stunned right here. The Permafrost is on him, but that's still not a lot of damage onto Demon Fanboy, and I think Mirmo and the rest of the Sanzui squad have to pull away from this.
Yeah, I like that TNC actually just fought that under the tower and did not panic and opt for a fight. Because I like that they're going to need that survival. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Ikaros is just giving Mortimer a hard time.
Burst is trying to go for something here in the top lane. That's a lot of damage, but that's Monteferum just flashing out of the Flag and Drag knockup just in time.
He goes for another flash burn, and that is another resource going in favor of TNC. And so far, that top lane is just going to start snowballing. And what can Sanzu Wind do to stop that?
Yeah, it's really about how troublesome it is for both of these junglers to make a play. You see Kesarasara making so many moves in mid lane and bot lane, trying to put them ahead. but it's
Nothing's just
it's
happening. They
not
refuse
paying off.
to fall.
And at most they get a summer spell, but it's not actually manifesting actual leads for Sanzui. And
So far, yes.
it's not helping out Mirmo. He's 20 CS behind, and that's not something we want to see. Here, the Ocean Break might help them out a little bit. This is not going to be contested at all by TNC. However, how far can it take them?
That's right. Of course, that's gonna help against the lanes.
go for-
They could push easily with these, with the Ocean Drake, and that's gonna counter like the healing effect that the Nami can.
man.
Oh, nice burn of the package, just to get rid of the creep wave and give that tower that much needed damage push. Because no towers falling and no kills at all on the map, and we are 10 minutes in.
A good reaction from TNC here to scare away the push coming into this bot lane. So that's actually just a little bit of wave here from the package. Not a lot of real damage onto the turret. It's still a little bit over half.
That's right.
And TNC is just so far defending this with relative ease because there's not a lot of pressure. There's attempts to make plays from Sanzui, but it's just so difficult for them.
And that's attributing to the lineup that, again, they have picked. When you have this many tanks in your composition, and of course you also have a Nami, that's so much disengage. And yeah, again, this is going to be up to Burst. How will he use this advantage that they have with the engage to push Sanzui into positions that they do not like? They do not want to be caught in these positions, and Burst is the key into unlocking that opportunity for TNC.
But it's so difficult for Sanzui here because so far they haven't really had a lot of opportunities. And here Burst is, it's really a big standstill right now. At this point, the lead isn't too big. It's a little less than 1,000.
That's
and
right.
At that point, that should be what, a few potions here and there. Not enough to actually manifest into real stats, but there has to be a turning point here somewhere. It could come into play in a bot side. Perhaps Mirmo and Beast will want to make something happen. Because right now, if the game goes longer and Mirmo's not able to get a lead over Demon Fanboy, that Vayne will slowly scale faster.
That's right. Power spikes for both teams are actually a bit behind. You want to see that Triforce at usually around 11 to 12 minutes. And if you're in a game with no kills or tower pushes at all, it's getting harder and harder to hit the power spikes in the right time. And that's going to be detrimental, or that's going to be bad for Sanzui because they're the ones that needs those power spikes a lot earlier than TNC does, because TNC already has that built in, and they do have that skill potential right now on the Tristana Murmo.
That's a lot of damage.
Almost.
Gets stunned by the bubble.
That's right.
Almost. Unfortunately, TNC does not have the big power spikes that they have just yet, so
That's
it's not
right.
able to manifest it.
Again, this is both teams lacking their power spikes from their items, and that's going to drag this game a lot longer than it usually does. And I kind of like that. I like long drawn out games because that's where you see how good a team can really macro. That's where you can see a team's decision making come in.
Yeah, because in those long games, the longer the game goes, the bigger small mistakes can cost you.
That's
and
right.
Right
Bigger
now,
small mistakes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Right now, 13 minutes, it's still quite early, and there's not a lot of action. But here, Mirmo, very dangerous positioning there earlier. But knowing that he's in a losing position in this lane right now, that's around 25 CS behind Demon Fanboy. He has opted for the Ninja Tabi, which is quite a valid pickup on this Tristana.
That's
It
right.
will help him survive against Demon Fanboy. And against Burst as well if he comes ganking.
Yeah, again, this is a game survivability. You can also see that in the ward placement for both teams. Very deep wards in the side of the red side of TNC and also the blue side of Sanzu. So both teams really opting for that optimal. They're looking for the gank tax. That's all they're looking for, and that's why no ganks or no successful ganks are happening so far.
And TNC is ahead in this information game. Their ward placement so far has been more aggressive.
That's right.
And that actually leads to them being a lot safer. They know exactly where Kesser is if his bot side camps are cleared.
Yeah, that's where the 1K that you're looking for went to. Just a few advanced wards. But that's so far so good for TNC and Senzuyu actually just surviving at this point. If they do get their Triforce Power Spike, which is right now, a bit late, but we'll see what happens. Right now on the top, Morty is again fighting Icarus. This is going to be such a battle of tanks, and I think this is the second time we've seen it today.
Oh man, they're fighting it out. That's the nature's grasp out there trying to make it deal some damage. And here's what
Santelmo goes
actually
in.
going to teleport
Morty,
in here.
oh,
But
he
that's
gets
going to
the
be the first blood
blood.
going to Icarus. Icarus has to run away now as that is two members at full health wailing on him.
That was a great revenge kill, although Teleport was exhausted for that. That gives Hayes some leeway to push in the middle, and of course safety on the bot lane of TNC because they're very confident that everyone else is not on the map. But again, this is again so far macro-oriented. Burst is just getting caught out of position. What are you doing there? You do not want to do this. I guess both teams really do just want to play safe.
Yeah,
right now, at the HP levels of Burst, that's not somewhere you want to be.
But so far, that is one kill going to Icarus. That is first blood. And of course, the most important thing here is that Santelmo also got a kill of his own.
That's
that does break the stalemate in mid lane a little bit. Hayes, they are actually pretty equal in CS.
Pretty
here,
much, yes.
But because Santelmo got that kill, he is a little bit ahead in terms of the experience. It's just one kill. And it's going to be up to how Santelmo works with Caceresra and how he manifests and how he materializes that one kill into something even greater.
That's right. I want to look at TNC's lineup here. Do you expect TNC's lineup to survive once you have Senzuyu Win rolling with these items? Because right now they're being really pressured into positions that they do not want.
I think entering the back end of the laning phase and going into mid-game, that's actually where Senzuyu has an opportunity.
Right.
But here, it actually gets blocked away.
TNC is
by
getting
the stun
pincered.
here. TNC and Hayes. TNC Hayes getting destroyed by Caceresra and the rest of Senzuyu, but Baslava AoE damage against Senzuyu, and now they're on the run as Icarus and the rest of the TNC squad are wailing on them, and they're not letting them run away that easy. This so far, TNC has wrecked Senzuyu Esports, Senzuyu Yin rather, in this mid-game fight.
Out of nowhere, TNC, you thought they were going down, but the rest of the follow-up was great, and survivability is key. They were able to survive those crucial first 5 seconds, and they were able to do cleaning up. Because right now, if they did, since they did survive, that put Senzuyu Win in a very bad position. Now, resulting in a tower and that ace, of course.
That's going to be the first turret of the game. So let's
Let's
look at
have a
how
look at
that replay went.
That's right. If TNC Burst went down here, you would expect that Senzuyu Win had a lead, but right now everyone is CC'd, and that's just Demon Fanboy. He didn't even have much damage. Icarus was the one doing the majority of the damage along with Hayes, and after that, you saw that Senzuyu Win did not have enough bullets in the chamber to pull it off, and they just had to disengage, but TNC was just super sticky, and with that Icarus front line, you see that HP bar from Icarus, it did not even fall below 75 health. He was the one in the middle of those fights, and that just goes to show the power of this Orin pick.
Yeah, SNZ had a very good start in that fight. They were able to get the Drake. They also had the initial fight in their favor, but because they bunched up, that allowed
Too much,
TNC,
right?
yeah, that allowed TNC to just whittle them down and just burst them down rather with AoE coming from Burst as well as Icarus. They were all perfectly bunched up for Icarus is called the Forge God, teleporting from behind. So they're the ones with the positioning disadvantage at that point, because they put themselves in that situation where they could get pincered by TNC. They could have had the fight a little bit more far back into the river where TNC has only one entrance, but there they put themselves in that position.
Yeah, you could say it was quite smart for Senzuyu to go for Burst. He's considered to be the least tanky of the team, and he was the one who was out of position. It's just that they took too long to take him down, and I guess that's because the Vayne doesn't really have many completed items yet. The Tristan didn't have a lot of completed items yet. That's why it's
trying to go for something. But here is a fight at the bot side of the map. That is Burst. Might go down, but that's a big bubble coming from Orthros. Mirmo still takes away the kill, but Demon Fanboy is able to shoot down Mortiferum. That's going to be Hayes and Icarus trying to go for something here. Not a lot of CC available, but Beast goes down actually to Hayes. The sustained damage is too much for that tank.
Yeah, it's so difficult to kite against the composition that TNC has because just of how sticky they are and how tanky their front line also is. They're having Demon Fanboy right now is having a field day. They can't. Shinzuyu Win isn't even trying to get to Demon Fanboy at this point. They're just trying to see if they can take down the front line, and that's why they are now losing at the middle of the fights.
And that fight earlier, that ace earlier, puts TNC in such a good position. It breaks the stalemate. And previously, SNZ had a big opportunity during mid-game because of the tower spike from the Triforce on Santelmo, but after that ace, it's TNC's game, and here they'll get a very good push onto this top lane, possibly. Might get some revenge against Icarus, but he's still one tanky goat. Almost taking down Mirmo. The shield is just keeping alive from the Bellows Breath. He might actually take Mirmo out, but that's 3 members.
It took 30 seconds and 3 people to get Icarus out of the game, and that just goes to show how high up he is. 184 to 120. You have to attribute that Icarus just went so far ahead on the laning phase. But let's see how far TNC can carry that as we head into the mid game, wherein the stalemate has been broken. A lot of outer towers have already fallen, and TNC is starting to work on that top outer turret as well. Let's see how much gold is already ahead. They're already 6K ahead.
And that is such a good place to be as that main, especially now he has built a lot of attack speed. That's the Runans. That's the Ginsu. The Runans actually, it's strange on the vein, but it's a lot of attack speed. Allows him to just whittle them down as a team in the AoE,
right.
and as well as Hayes, because he got those 4 kills earlier, he has built into such a huge lead that he transitions into even more powerful.
Yeah, it's a good time Seraph. It helps with survivability. It kind of allows you to just kite away and also prevent Santelmo from just normally kiting, because Hayes can just counter a lot of the damage coming in. Meanwhile, Hayes gets
might
caught
fall
out.
down. He's walled away, but that's a great petrifying gaze, and that is going to be Kesarasura caught away with very, very low health. Santelmo as well gets destroyed, and here comes Demon Fanboy just going for it. All of his attack speed stuns Mirmo and takes him down. This could be the Baron.
That was perfectly angled, condemned there from Demon Fanboy. I didn't expect that much damage output, and this attack speed build that he is running, along with the Runans, is helping so much. And this is going to be an easy Baron here for TNC. Just goes to show how far ahead they currently are in the game. Let's have a look at that again. So we saw that Hayes was caught out of position, but great blink out onto that petrifying gaze, and the rest of Sanzuiwin just didn't know where to go. They were caught with that wall, and they did not have enough alleyways to give out that damage. Mirmo just ran for the hills right away.
And SNZ, they didn't want to commit too hard onto Hayes there. There was not enough vision behind that wall in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think they wanted to disengage at the middle of
that puts Sanzui in such a difficult spot on how to decide, because if they overcommit, then they're just gonna get pincered by burst.
Yeah,
and
they're gonna get slowed down,
Icarus
right?
teleports in,
Yeah.
But if they run away, TNC has an opportunity to just chase them down with how much speed that they have. And that was just a lose-lose situation because they were around 8K gold behind at that point.
Yeah, I was just talking about the stickiness that TNC's composition has. It's so hard to run from them. The slows from the Cassiopeia and the Orin, as well as just the tumble on the Vayne and with Vayne's passive. It's just so difficult to run away from them, and they're gonna hit you no matter what. And with the amount of items that they've already accrued, it's getting so much harder for Sanzuiwin to survive.
Yeah, that's a lot of kills and assists for both of these carries. Hayes and Demon Fanboy just swimming in gold right now, and you can see it in their items. Now Demon Fanboy is going to transition into possibly the Infinity Edge, so that's even more damage, and Sanzui's front line won't be lasting long. They will fall down like Demon Fanboy is a hot knife through butter.
That's right, Demon
build.
Fanboy with this build. It's not super what do you say, gold efficient to have a Runans on the Bane, but he's using so much of it to their advantage, and they're not even just looking for the silver bolt at this point. They just want to go for raw damage.
And at this point, that really is the goal for Demon Fanboy right now. And it's actually working because Senzui is getting caught in these positions where even if Demon Fanboy had a rapid fire cannon or static shiv or Phantom Dancer, it would just be in TNC's favor every
That's
time.
right. All the time, because it's super difficult to get through this lineup of TNC with the amount of gold and the amount of items they have built up. It's just, along with this Baron buff, you can see it, you can expect these two towers to fall.
They're just choking Senzui out.
Exactly. So much resource that they're not being able to access. Those outer turrets are surviving on the bottom and the top. That's where I expect more pressure. But right now, TNC is just going all out into these towers, and Senzuin's just being relegated to just watching.
Yeah, and as they're watching their turrets fall, that's not just the turrets falling, that's the neutral monsters. The jungle camps being taken by TNC, that's also resources lost by Senzui. That's pressure on every other lane lost by Senzui, and now TNC is just slowly taking them away.
Not to mention, of course, map control.
Yeah.
The warding, they're not able to ward as effectively as before. That's a good trick there from Satelmo. That's what you want to do. You want to get those resources as much as you can, because right now TNC is not going to give you anything.
And they still have this Baron strong, and that is going to be the inhibitor turret of the mid lane. If that falls, that's even more. But that's a call to Forge God. He can't actually headbutt it back because he's rooted, but they still want these turrets. This could be an opportunity for Senzui. That still bursts in the middle of everyone. He can flag and dragon away, but that's Orthos taking a lot of damage. That's still TNC taking out Senzui's members. Mirmo is still up, Santelmo is still up. They can still take this away, but TNC is now being very, very cautious, waiting for the next minion wave. They still want this mid lane turret. Ikaros is going in. He's got the Bellows Breath to protect him from damage, and burst, and the tank falls down. This is another chance for Senzui to go straight for it. Santelmo still has a few rockets in his cartridge. He's going to still chase onto Hayes, but they don't have a lot of vision in that area, and they have to pull away and start pushing these minions off.
Super unlucky there for TNC. The Baron buff barely ran out before they took that tower, and that's why it took so long for them to take that inhibitor tower. If it just lasted a while, the minions would have survived a lot more, and they would have taken that really easy and disengaged a lot earlier, but just the timing. And amazing for Senzui Win, identifying that and able to push the advantage. And now they have a small amount of map control to their name, but Hayes, he wants to take advantage of it.
Hayes. Oh man, he's still able to rocket jump away. The Miasma cannot stop that
So close.
when it's already casted. So Mirmo, quick on the trigger for that rocket jump, being able to run away, but there. TNC,
Nice try.
TNC had to give up Ikaros and Burst just for that turret, and I think that is absolutely worth it. It gives Senzui a little bit of breathing room as they retreat, but still, the decisiveness, what they want, the turret, they go for it no matter what. They sacrifice whatever just to get that objective, and they take it away.
I like that TNC is prioritizing every second of this just into not just farming, right? Just getting into these objectives that they really need to advance the game further. And right now, Senzui Win is looking for picks in order to get back into the game. I don't know. TNC is just a really good team that likes to play safe as well. So right now, they're the ones getting picked.
Demon Fanboy dealt a lot of damage to him, but that's a disengage from the tidal wave of Orthros.
Yeah, again, both teams, they're playing in the areas of the map that are quite unexplored, or you could say unwarded earlier, and that was quite dangerous. But I like that TNC now starts to have that Namien and Ikaros.
He is going to run away against 4, but that gives TNC so much room in the bot side. Look at Demon Fanboy versus really quickly pushing this down. They know they have a wave building up in top side, so now they can go for this bot side. And now it is going to be an Infernal Drake.
That's right. Infernal Drake for this team that already has the item advantage. You can expect a lot more fighting power on the side of TNC. And of course, Senzui Win does see this. They're going to have to give that up. And what are they going to take in exchange, though?
They can't really take a lot.
Will they be relegated to just ward the areas that are coming?
That would be ideal.
That's what they're doing.
I think what they should have done in that time, where they warded this bot side of the jungle, is establish control over that.
That would have been great.
Yeah, because this is 5 seconds, 2 seconds. Baron already spawning. In that time that TNC was going for the dragon, they could have taken a little bit of control over that area in the map. And now TNC controls it absolutely completely.
Yeah, and they're not going to be able to enter any of these bushes without the fear of being death brushed by this team. And right now, what they can do is they can toss saplings. There's not really much more.
There is a lot of fear involved because every brush could have Burst and Icaros in it, just
right.
waiting to kill you. You don't want to gaze into Haze's eyes, but here comes Calm the Forge God. This could be a big thing for Sensui if TNC is not able to do it, but there's so much damage coming from Demon Fanboy, coming from Haze. They're just blowing Sensui down, and even though that they got the jump on TNC, they still lose one member and their inhibitor, and this is going to be the signal for TNC to go for the Baron while one of their members is down. They could bait this out potentially.
That was the pick that TNC was looking for. Having Burst go all in, and then taking all the damage, then just escape into the back line with the survivability.
Oh man, that is going to be Sensui. That's it. They get caught in the jungle without wards. They have to face check, and that's Pesirasera down. That gives the Baron to TNC. Absolutely. There is going to be no contest come from Sensui there.
This team is a monster in taking down enemies that go near bushes. So much burst damage, and now it's going to be free Baron. It's another Baron getting the lead up to 14k. And the Baron buff to boot. With that Infernal Drake, it is no joke. That TNC, TNC is gonna have so much burst potential and so much kill potential that's gonna make Sensui wonder, where are we gonna go next?
Because right now Senzui's damage threats are only Santelmo and Mirmo. That means that while TNC has a very solid front line, and because they are way behind, they can't kill that as fast. But TNC, they have a fed Cassiopeia, they have a fed Bane. While Icaros on that Ornn is also a big damage threat because of the Iceborne Gauntlet, as well as the Abyssal Mask. That's so much magic damage coming from Icaros. Burst is also dealing a little bit, but the important thing here is that the upgraded items from the Ornn passive, the Infinity Edge,
they're gonna help so much later, right?
Oh man, yeah, and that essentially gives free stats, more stats, in exchange for those item slots.
That's right. Per item slot efficiency on the side of TNC, they're gonna nail the late game so well on this fight.
Even harder than they're already doing against Sensui.
That's right. And right now, the difficulty that Sensui Win is having with their composition is that their primary damage sources are characters that need to kite and they need to stick nearby while they do their damage. TNC has the ability to lock you down and chase you so easily that your kiting power is stymied so much that you cannot damage out anyone else as easily as TNC can. So you need to be really sticky as well on your side, but the problem is, you know, you can get bursted out easily. That's the advantage that TNC has. They have burst, pardon the pun, not burst the jungler, but the burst ability from the Cassiopeia. They don't have to be just sticky. They can take out members quite easily, and they do not need so much time. Right now, Icaros going for that 2v1.
Yeah, it's going to be a 2v1, and this is going to be very difficult for Sensui in here. That's two members, and that's going to be a dead Icaros, but that does give TNC so much leeway in this top side.
That's going to be two members as well on the bottom side. No one to defend that inhibitor
this
tower.
Could be the 4v3 that TNC was looking for, and Beast instantly goes down. Mirmo has to pull away, and Haze is looking for more victims, and that is going to be an inhibitor falling down very, very quickly against Demon Fanboy. Oh no, Santelmo gets out of position, cannot flash or Valkyrie away because of the miasma, and those are 50-second death timers for Sensui, and that is going to be TNC blocking them away from defending their Nexus. This is TNC taking away game one. Definitely, absolutely, as Sensui cannot get out of their own base.
Congratulations, TNC takes game one of this best of 3 series.
And that is great momentum for TNC. They had that really great turning point against Sensui because of that team fight. That ace just completely set them up to take over the rest of the game.
That was amazing macro decisions there. from TNC to have 4 members on top, and Orin, the tankiest member that usually takes 2 to 3 members to take down, to pull down as much resources as they can from that inhibitor turret, allowing it to fall and putting SNZ in a situation where they have to choose where do we defend, and they were not able to defend both at that point.
Yeah, the 4v3 starting out there really ended them. And that just allowed TNC to take over that final fight. As soon as they had the numbers advantage, the gold advantage, they just powered through and destroyed SNZ.
That was definitely devastating, and we will have to look into more from TNC, because this is a team that looks like they have their macro in the bag. The coaching that we were talking about earlier, the support team, they look like they had a plan. They came into this fight and they executed really, really well. And I like that from TNC. That shows great promise, and that shows the attributes that you want in a PGS team.
Definitely. But of course, this is still a best of 3. It is possible for SNZ to just bounce back, but the momentum for winning the first game in a series is big for TNC. We'll be seeing how the rest of the series plays out. But of course, we were shoutcasters for that very first game. I'm Atlas. With me was Rockhart, and we'll be seeing you for more TNC versus SNZ action after the break. Actually gets blocked away.
TNC is getting pincered.
TNC and Hayes. TNC Hayes getting destroyed by Kessler and the rest of SNZ, but Bastrava took AoE damage against SNZ, and now they're on the run as Ikaros and the rest of the TNC squad are wailing on them, and they're not letting them run away that easy. This so far, TNC is wrecked SNZ Esports. Walk away, but that's a great petrifying gaze, and that is going to be Kessler found away with very, very low health. Santelmo as well gets destroyed, and here comes Demon Fanboy just going for it. All of his attacks. Ikaros is going in. He's got the Bellows Breath to protect him from damage, and burst, and the tank falls down. This is another, could be a big thing for Sanzui if TNC is not able to do it, but there's so much damage coming from Demon Fanboy, coming from Hayes. They're just blowing Sansui down, and even though that they got the jump on TNC, those are 50-second death timers for Sansui and that is going to be TNC blocking them away from defending their Nexus. This is TNC taking away game 1. Definitely, absolutely, as Sansui cannot get out of their own base.
Congratulations, TNC takes game 1 of this Best of 3 series.
And that is